Well, verse 16, when evening had came, his disciples went down to the sea, got into the boat, and went over the sea toward Capernaum. Matthew tells us that Jesus made them get in the boat. See, that's why it's neat to read the Synoptic Gospels, because all the Gospels together give you a rounded picture. And this event, Jesus forced them into this event because he wanted to show himself to them. And so they went over the sea toward Capernaum. They're on the north side. If you know anything about the Sea of Galilee, they were up there at about 1 o'clock, and Capernaum's at about 11. So they had to just cut across the northern part of the Sea of Galilee. Might have been a mile and a half. And it was already dark, and Jesus had not come to them. He sent them off and said, "Go on, I'll catch up later." Verse 18, the sea arose because of a great wind. When they'd rowed about 3 or 4 miles, they saw Jesus walking on the sea, drawing near to the boat, and they were afraid. And he said to them, "It is I, do not be afraid." And they willingly received him into the boat, and the boat was at the land where they were going. So there was really 2 miracles here. He calms the sea, it tells us in Matthew 14, and also their boat was instantly where it belonged. And they had blown off course, and they were in the center, in this violent storm in the center of the Sea of Galilee. And Jesus walked them across the storm, got in the boat, it calmed the sea, and they found themselves where they were supposed to be. Isn't that wonderful? You know what he's saying to them? I'm the Lord of nature. He had already told them, I'm the Lord of creation. He already said, I'm the Lord of time and space. He already said, I'm the Lord over sickness. He already said, I'm the Lord who can supply all your needs. I'm the bread from heaven. He said, I'm also the Lord of nature. You don't have to worry about storms. You don't have to worry about earthquakes and tornadoes and natural disasters. He said, I'm the Lord of all that, and I can keep you. Remember what it says in Psalm 90? It says, nothing shall come nigh thee. I think about that. I think about how much energy people spend worrying about security. And about... Now, we should be wise. But if you live in constant dread... when we lived in California, in Los Angeles, and ministered at Grace Community Church, any of you ever heard of Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker? The man that went in windows and murdered people in their beds and gruesome stuff? One of his victims was directly across the street from the church. Didn't attend the church, but their house was right across there. I remember Bonnie and I were new, and we were looking for a house, and we saw this house for sale, and someone said, "Oh, don't buy that house." We said, "Why? It's so close to the church, we could have walked to church." The stalker murdered someone in their bed. And, they have repainted that house. They put new bushes. No one would buy that house. That's how superstitious people are. They had Ramirez locked up. But people wouldn't live in that house. Why? Because people are so afraid. What's the most oft-repeated prohibition in the Bible? Fear not. Over and over, fear not. Why? Because God does not fear, and He does not give us a spirit of fear. Satan operates in the realm of fear. He wants people to fear death, and he wants people to fear disease, and he wants people to fear disasters coming upon them. He wants people to fear the loss of their goods. You know what it says in Hebrews 11? Christians took joyfully people taking their goods away from them. Why? They didn't fear it's gone. Because they said, it's not mine anyway, it's God's. And anything that lasts forever comes from God. And anything I want to last forever, I give back to God. And so if we want to hold on to something, Jesus said that if you want to save your life, what? Lose it. If you want to lose your life, hold on to it. You know what he's saying here? I'm the Lord of nature. And he says there's nothing in this world that can get at you. Some of the early missionaries that went out across the world, they went without guns and glass in the windows and without security forces, and they went out and lived among the people. And some of them got killed, and some of them got beaten up. If you've ever read anything about the Boxer Rebellion, hundreds of Christian missionaries were killed in China during the Boxer Uprising in the 1900s. But you know what? If you want to save your life, what? Lose it. They get the blessing of having not held on. I like what Jim Elliot said. He says he is no fool who gives what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose. But I like the shortened version of it. I would rather die trying to climb than rust out at the bottom of the heap, someone put it. Most people in America have been climbing the ladder their whole life, and they get to the top of the ladder and they find out it's leaning against the wrong building. And they're really nowhere. And what Elliot was saying was, I would rather die trying to serve the Lord than climb the ladder and rust out in this world. And that's what Jesus is saying here. He says, don't fear anything. I'll come to you in your storm. I'll protect you from it. Nothing can get you unless it's my will. And if it's my will, it's better for you to be with me than to live in comfort on the earth. Another sign he gave.